I'll show you the process for converting an improper fraction into a decimal. So an improper fraction is just a fraction where the numerator is larger than the denominator. So we'll start with 12/8. The first step to change an improper fraction to a decimal is to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator to find the whole number. So 12 divided by 8 is 1. 12 minus 8 is 4, so you're left with a remainder of 4/8. So this is just changing an improper fraction into a mixed number. From here, I'm going to change the fraction part of the mixed number into a decimal. I know that as a decimal, there will be a whole number 1, and then we need to find what this decimal part of it is by changing 4/8 into a decimal. So there's several ways you can do this. One way is you can simplify 4/8. If you simplify 4/8, so divide both the 4 and the 8 by 4, you will get 1/2. And if you don't know this, 1/2 is equivalent to 0.5 as a decimal. If you didn't know how to do that, then you could just take 4/8 and do long division. So 4 divided by 8. 8 goes into 4 0 times, so we add a decimal and we add a 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times exactly. 5 times 8 is 40, so left with nothing. So that's why 4/8 is 0.5 as a decimal. So 12/8 is 1.5 or 1 5/10 as a decimal. Okay, let's try that with 14/5. So again, I'm going to change this into a mixed number. 14 divided by 5 is 2, with 4/5 left over. 5 times 2 is 10, and then you have 4/5 left over. Okay, so this means that as a whole number, 2 is your whole number, and then 4/5 we need to make into a decimal. Now you could take 4/5 and change this fraction into an equivalent fraction that has a denominator that is a power of 10. So if I multiply 4/5 by 2 in both the numerator and the denominator, I will get 8/10. And 8/10, if you remember place value, the tenths place value is the value right after the decimal point. So 8/10 would be 0.8, which means 14/5 as a mixed number was 2 and 4/5, and 4/5 is equivalent to 8/10, so it would be 2.8 is the decimal of 14/5. Another example, 22/9, so 22/9. 22 divided by 9 is 2, with 4/9 left over. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18. 22 minus 18 is 4, so there's 4/9 left over. So I know that the whole number will be 2, and I need to figure out what 4/9 is as a decimal. So I'm going to do long division here. I'm going to take 4 and divide it by 9. 9 goes into 4 0 times, so I add a decimal, I add a 0. 9 goes into 40 4 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 40 minus 36 is 4. Add another 0, drop it down. 9 goes into 40 4 times. 9 times 4 is 36. 40 minus 36 is 4. Add another 0, drop it down. Notice that this would be a repetitive decimal, right? You would keep getting 36, you would keep getting 40, you would keep getting 4 up here. So instead of just keep continuing to do this and just getting 0.4444 repeating, we're just going to write that as 0.4 with a little line over the 4, which means repeating. So that means 2 and 4/9 is 2.4 repeating. And the last one, 30/11. So we're going to write that as a decimal. So 30 divided by 11 is 2, with 8/11 left over. 11 times 2 is 22. 30 minus 22 is 8. So 2 and 8/11 is the mixed number of 30/11. That means my whole number is 2, and I need to find out what is 8/11 as a decimal. So I'm going to do long division with this one, and I'm going to take 8 divided by 11. 11 goes into 8 0 times, add a decimal, add a 0. 11 goes into 80 7 times. 7 times 11 is 77. Subtract 80 minus 77 is 3. Add an extra 0, drop it down. 11 goes into 30 2 times. 2 times 11 is 22. 30 minus 22 is 8. Add a 0, drop it down. 11 goes into 80 7 times. 7 times 11 is 77. Subtract 80 minus 77 is 3. Add an extra 0, drop it down. Notice that this will continue to repeat. So I'll continue to get 7 2 7 2 7 2. It would just repeat infinitely. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to draw a little repeating line over the numbers that repeat. So this would be 0.72, and because the 7 and the 2 repeat, I'm going to draw a line over the 7 and the 2. So that means 2 and 8 elevenths would be 2.72 repeating. So this is how to change an improper fraction into a decimal, and the best way I know how is to change it into a mixed number, and then from there to perform long division, or like this example, to get the denominator to be a denominator with a power of 10, like 10, 100, 1,000, and then using place value, put that numerator in its place value according to the denominator.